Hi, hello everyone. Dawn Epting here. Thank you guys so much as always for watching. Today I wanted to discuss forgetting what is behind. Forgetting what is behind. And hopefully at the end of watching this video, we'll be reminded of ways to experience the outcomes in life that we desire once we forget undesirable past experiences. So I want to get right into it today, and I'm going to actually read today from my daily devotional, 365 Days of Grace. So I'll start with the scripture, and that scripture reads, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before." And that is Philippians 3:13. So we see that as we forget what is behind, or as we are trying to reach to those things that are before, it is a simultaneous forgetting what is behind us. Here I've written, and I'll give 3 reasons why it's important that I have thought of for us to forget those things which are behind, especially things that, we would rather not have done in the past. So here in the devotional that I'm reading from my own devotional, I write, the word I is extremely important in this verse. In each of our lives, we must consciously make a decision to forget the undesirable events from our past, or I put here, to forget our past. This was written by Paul, and I said, notice here that Paul did not say this one thing my family does, but that I do. Paul had to make a decision to put his past behind him, regardless of whether other people chose to forget his past or not. So it doesn't matter if someone else remembers where you come from. It doesn't matter if perhaps, in the past you were addicted to drugs, or, people may have known you at that time, or maybe you were selling drugs, or maybe, there are a lot of different things that we could have, done in the past. As long as you forget it and you move forward, that is what makes the difference in the outcome changing in your life. So I went on to write here that Paul had a lot to forget. In Acts 7:58, he was the young man's whose feet that people laid their clothes down next to as Stephen was stoned. So Paul had a lot to forget in order to move forward with his destiny and purpose. And I'm going to state 3 reasons in one moment why it's important for us to forget. As I said, 3 reasons that I've thought of at least. I said, none of us probably has as much to forget as Paul did, in the sense that we're not perpetuators of multiple murders in the past as he was. Nonetheless, some of us may have to forget or need to forget a past abortion, multiple divorces, a painful rejection, not completing college, having children out of wedlock, and a host of other things. Although people may try to remind us of our past, it is our job to forget it. In fact, often just before God does something big in your life, someone will come along and remind you of your past in order to deter you from God's purpose and plan for your life. God forgets our past and even says, as far as the east is from the west, so has he removed our transgression from us. If the only person who matters forgets our past, then why should we remember it? So I kind of go on and I say some other things here, but 3 reasons why we should forget our past. Number 1, it's important for us to forget our past if we want to experience our desires, our goals, and what we feel like may be the purpose and calling on our life. So in order to experience what we desire to do, we have to forget our past. Too often, we feel unworthy. That sense of unworthiness arises because we feel like, because of what I've done, I am not worthy to go forward and experience, the desires of my heart, to start that business that I long to start, to, write that best-selling book, or, to find the, man or woman of my dreams, because I've done too many things in the past. So that unworthiness sets in, and that can prevent us from experiencing those goals and desires. So I believe personally, one of the biggest things people struggle with is their past, in terms of moving forward into the fullness of all that their heart desires. So, number one, we must forget our past in order to experience the desires, the goals, and the dreams that we harbor in our hearts. Number two, I believe, a good reason to forget our past is to release forgiveness. To release forgiveness. If we continually dwell on, and I understand this, I really do. We dwell on childhood experiences, or, maybe a relationship that didn't work out. We can harbor that unforgiveness. And as it's often been said, unforgiveness is like taking poison and hoping it harms someone else, but the only one it's harming is us. So, along that line and vein, the forgiveness that we have to release is towards ourselves. I know often it's taught we need to release forgiveness towards other people. And I understand that and I agree with that. But I think the biggest forgiveness that we have to release in terms of what we've experienced in our past is towards ourselves. I think quite often, even if we were in an abusive relationship, we blame ourselves. We blame ourselves. I should have known better. There were signs. And maybe that is the case. Maybe there were signs. But there was a lesson in it. Often it's an experience that helped us to grow, to get us to the place that we are today. And we have to start looking in terms of, that right and wrong, black and white. There are a lot of things that, are a part of our or your individual journey that shaped and molded who you are today. So the biggest forgiveness that we can release is towards yourself. And once we release that forgiveness, we'll see things begin that we desire to change and rearrange in our lives. Sometimes that holds us back. And the final thing the final reason why I believe that we should forget our past is in order to experience new emotions. And that kind of ties into the second thing I just said in terms of releasing forgiveness. But sometimes when we are just dwelling on the past and cognizant of all the mistakes that we've made and all the things that were done to us, we are angry. We walk around not with just emotions of anger, but somewhat in a perpetual state of anger and bitterness. I've seen people, 60, 70 years old that didn't, go the route that they feel like they should have went in life in terms of career choices. And maybe they're in their 60s and they're still working and they're very bitter. I've encountered people like that. They're very bitter. And we know now, especially the more that we're learning about quantum physics and spiritual realities, that it is not only our thoughts that attract the things that we desire to experience in and our outward experience in our lives, but it's also our emotions. Our emotions are attracting things to us. That's why we hear so much about things like gratitude, the importance of gratitude and love and thanksgiving. You know, there's a scripture that says, whatsoever things are good or honest or of a good report, think on these things. Why do we need to think on those things? Because those pure things generate positive emotions such as gratitude, love, thanksgiving, joy. And so we have to release the past, the painful experiences, at least from our past, in order to experience those higher vibrations and emotions that will attract the things that we desire to experience or manifest the things that we desire to walk in the experience of in our lives. So, number one, the first reason to forget our past is so that we can have a different outcome and experience our dreams, our desires, our goals. Number two, to release forgiveness, mostly towards ourselves. And number three, to release those higher emotions. So feel free to hit the subscribe button underneath this video to receive notification of future videos, and the bell to receive notifications of future videos. Thank you guys. I appreciate your comments and your insight for these videos in terms of them that help others. And if you haven't grabbed my book on Amazon and in bookstores, Never Doubt Your Value, You Are More Than Enough, definitely take a moment and grab that book. The link is below. And people are saying it's like Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic. I'm getting a lot of feedback, great feedback from that book. So hopefully it is, a game changer, and it's inspirational and takes you to the next level, takes us all to the next level as well. And feel free to look below the video to see how you can get involved with some of the things I'm doing. Thank you if you're watching on YouTube or whatever social media platform you're watching on. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.